So today I asked myself, when AI is able to cook and even pass exams, it should also be able to color grade for me. So that's what we're gonna find out today. So DaVinci Resolve has a feature that lets you copy the grade from another clip so that you can steal the color grade from any video that you want to use. But of course you want to try something different. So for that reason we're gonna use ChatGPT, of course. So first let's ask ChatGPT what it says when I want to get the teal and orange look done in DaVinci Resolve. So let's start with the first question for ChatGPT. For the first question I want to ask ChatGPT how I can get the teal and orange look in DaVinci Resolve. So let's ask ChatGPT. Full tutorial, please. So step 1, import your footage. Launch DaVinci Resolve. Didn't know about that step. And create a new project. Import your video clip. Okay, so this is obvious what we need to do. Create a new timeline. Play basic corrections. Okay, that's good that it mentions that I should make corrections first. So that's a really good point. Create a new note. The old-fashioned screenshot. Making a photo of the website. So now we go to DaVinci Resolve and test out if it works what ChatGPT said. So here we go, we've got some footage in the timeline and ChatGPT didn't mention that I should convert the footage first. I mean, obviously it doesn't know that I'm shooting a log, so I will convert the footage first. So drag your clip onto the timeline and then select it. In the color page, navigate to the primary bar section and adjust the basic corrections to get a balanced starting point for your grading. This step ensures that the teal and orange look is applied on a neutral base. This is a very good step. This is what you should always do. So we start with the primary wheels, of course, and I think this footage looks pretty good. Maybe a little bit more magenta, I don't know. I think that looks fine. Then we go to this clip, make some adjustments over here, maybe cool it down a bit. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Maybe less magenta. Yeah, now it looks fine. This is a very warm clip, so we cool it off a bit, but not too much. So we got some neutral images over here, and now we go to the next step, is create new node. So of course we make a new node. So adjust the shadows and highlights. In the new serial node, go to the color wheels panel, click on the shadows wheel and move it toward the blue teal side to introduce the teal tone. So we go to the log wheels, and I think we start with this clip because then we can obviously see it a bit more because it has blues and shadows in here. So we move the shadow wheel down to the teal area, before and after, then click on the highlights wheel, move it towards the orange side to add the orange tone. Okay, normally you don't use the highlights wheel to do that. Okay, that looks pretty weird in my opinion. I would rather push the midtone wheel into the warm area or just start with the primary wheels, but this is what it looks like. I will copy this node on the other clips and see what it looks like. Okay. It could work, but this is too strong, so we adjust it a bit. I wouldn't even use the log wheels for that. I would use the primary color wheels for that because they work better for that in my opinion. To fine tune the teal and orange effect, you can adjust the midtones, saturation and balance in the color wheels panel. So we work with the midtones. Then I adjust the downrange a bit. If you don't know what the downrange does, it adjusts the range of the shadow wheel. So if I pull it up, it goes more in the midtones. And if I go down, it only adjusts the black point. We want to find the middle point. And then I adjust the high range for the highlight wheel. Maybe I'll adjust the highlights a bit so that we got more of a yellowish or orange tone. Then I adjust the midtones. So before and after. Now we go to this clip and do the same here. Okay, so this could work. Then ChatGPT wants us to use the custom curves to make an S-curve to increase the contrast. So that's what we do now. So I pull down the shadows, pull up the highlights a bit. This looks pretty good in my opinion actually. Then we do the same over here. This look can work. This is not the optimal way to color grade, but it works and it looks pretty good in my opinion. And it reminds me a little bit of a commercial look because it's so contrasty because of the custom curve. So now I will color grade this footage again so that we can compare it. So I've already created some notes and I've converted it to Rec 709. So let's start with the balance. Balance it out a bit. And we go to this clip, balance it out again. Then we go back to this clip and I want to start with the hue versus hue. And obviously because it's a teal and orange look, we will lift the yellow and the blue. So let's start with the blue because we got a red bow there. And then obviously we can see how the blue behaves. And I think this is enough. Maybe pull this down so it's more concentrated if we got more of this teal tone here. So then let's start with the yellow and make a point here so that we don't adjust too much of the skin tones because the skin tones are between the reds and the yellows and we don't want to change them in a bad way. We make a point here so it's not too much. Then I can move the green point. This is what I like to do, so it doesn't affect the greens too much. When the yellow point goes too much in the green, the grass in the shots start to become yellow. And obviously I don't want that. If you want to have that, you can leave it like that. Then I want to adjust the hue versus saturation. So I make a few points again, increase the blue so it sticks out a bit more, increase the yellow and the orange. And what I also like to do is adjust the hue of some of the colors. Pull down the red, for example, here, but you have to be very careful if you're doing this with 8-bit footage. And then pull down the blue a bit, but just a little bit, otherwise the footage is gonna fall apart. This is the reason I remove the other points, so it's more gentle. Then we go to the lift gamma gain node, pull down the lift and increase the gamma so it's on the orange side. And if we want to have a general warm look, I would use the gain and pull it in the warm area. And then I want to adjust the curves, of course, so that we have more contrast. So pull this down, pull this one up, and pull the upper point down, the white point, and maybe even lift the black point. So I want to adjust this clip because it's too contrasty, so we pull up the shadows again, and maybe lift the white a bit. And adjust the lift gamma and gain. So now it gives us a very warm look, and this is what I want for this shot, so it's more on the warm side. And now we can compare to the ChatGPT way.